Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
Strategy versus tactics. Right. By the end of this podcast, I would want that you have an understanding of the critical difference between strategies and tactics, and you also be able to determine your own strategy and also tactics so you can get clear on what your next steps would be in your coaching or consulting business. All right. Obviously, if this is the first time you're listening to the Online Prosperity Experience, welcome. I'm going to be talking to you about how to become more strategic so you can grow a business that's profitable and enjoyable. Now, I've got a question for you. Do you ever sort of feel like you're running around in circles, especially in your coaching or consulting business? Just like maybe everything you're doing doesn't really sort of connect and you're only sort of making progress ever so slightly, only to fall back maybe 2 to 3 steps when you're going towards your goal. And sometimes it also feels like maybe you're just turning around, like a headless chicken. Oh, like my favorite cartoon character when I was growing up, the Tasmanian Devil, who whenever he wanted to go anywhere else, he would just be spinning around in circles. And then he figures out, oh, wait a minute, I haven't actually moved an inch. And I can see a lot of people doing that in their marketing. I can see a lot of people doing that in their social media game plan, and also how they just show up in their personal brand. You can literally tell somebody hasn't thought through what the next step would be. I always joke around, especially when it comes to people that do door knocking. For those younger people, that's how people used to buy services, electricity, telephone plans, and things of that nature. Somebody will come and knock on your door. Hi, would like to change your electricity bill so that you don't pay much, things of that nature, you know what I mean? Most of the people didn't have a strategy after the door was opened. And that's very common because they are taught to just be brave enough to knock on as many doors as possible. And then what then happens after the door is open, they don't know because they haven't practiced enough, or they don't have a strategy around that. Their tactic is to just get the door open. You know what I mean? So that's what a lot of people are doing, especially in their business. And that's the reason why there's that big statistic to say that a lot of people don't go past the 3-year mark. You know why? They just want to survive, the first couple of years to replace their income, and they don't know what to do with themselves pretty much after that. And that's the reason why most businesses don't go any further than that. So if you feel like you're running your business in circles and you're not growing your coaching, your training, your consulting, your information, or your expertise business, this is the podcast that you've been waiting for, and we're going to be helping you determine whether what you're doing is strategic enough to help you grow a business that's profitable and enjoyable, or you're just doing tactics that are merely putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. And believe it or not, a lot of coaches and consultants that we come across, they just run their business this way. It's like that game of whack-a-mole. You just whack whatever has reared its head up and not do anything about the rest of the engine. They're just chasing whatever shiny object that comes about, and they go into the guru casino and they sit on whatever slot machine that seems to be paying them, not realizing that they're spending a lot of time, money, and effort, and they're gonna walk out of that guru casino broke. All right. And you know what? The casino will always have a machine, for your budget. And you would always have a table that suits your budget at that particular time. The Guru Casino would have the latest marketing tool, the latest marketing strategy, the latest whiz bang funnel, or the latest social media hack, without wondering how it actually fits into your long-term goal. And you end up with a hard drive full of courses, ebooks, strategies that you can't even piece together to, pay you a single dollar, as an income that you're getting from your business. And that's, if, you actually have a business to come back to. So after this podcast, I'm hoping that you will now be able to actually see that what you're doing is not strategic at all. You're just chasing the proverbial shiny object, with the tactics that are out there, and chasing instant gratification. If you're going to be running a business that's profitable and enjoyable, let me tell you one thing for nothing. Your long-term goals and strategy should come first. You should be always playing the long game. Whatever you're going to be looking at, or whatever is going to be presented in front of you right now, you should ask, is any of this that I'm doing going to be taking me towards my goals? And that doesn't necessarily mean business in and of itself. Your family goals, your relationship goals, your spiritual goals, your physical health goals, your attitude, how you show up in the world, your growth, and mental mindset, whatever you're doing. Is this bringing you towards your goals that you want in life? Your finances, how you connect with other people, and how you actually have fun as a person. Is this bringing you towards your goals? All of these should have strategies that are all feeding into the final person that you want to become. Okay, not necessarily trying to do a bit of patchwork as you go along. Maybe cold calling potential clients out here and having them hang up in your face, and then giving up on that strategy, thinking, oh, I'm never going to do that because you know why? People are not responding to the work that I'm putting out there, and maybe sending out hundreds of emails without even getting as much as, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. Maybe when you sent out that email, the people that you send that email out to were not in the market for what you're providing. That doesn't mean they're not going to be a customer in 2 months or in 3 months or in 4 months. Strategy is thinking long term. Where am I going? Where is your GPS set to? Because when you're driving to go to a destination, you do not put the address of where you are currently. You put the address of where you're going. That is the strategy. And everything else, maybe there's a detour, there's roadworks on the way. Your GPS will still navigate to the place where you want to end up at. That's the strategy. All right. And, when you're looking at it, there's a textbook or a dictionary definition of what a strategy is. Okay, it's defined as a long-term plan of action, or maybe a policy that is designed to achieve a major goal or an overall aim. Your major goal is to have a business that's profitable and enjoyable. What you're doing right now, obviously you're listening to this podcast, so it is obviously geared towards you having a business that's profitable and enjoyable. But maybe you're just listening to this in the background. What are you actually doing? What were you doing when this podcast came into your life? What you're doing bringing you closer to your goals? Was what you're doing bringing you closer to the person you want to become? Was what you're doing bringing you closer to the clients you want to work with? Was what you're doing bringing you closer to the spouse you want to become? Was what you were doing bringing you closer to the consultant or coach or small business person that you want to become? Your long-term goals and strategy should come first. All right? At the end of the day, all we do is usually small tactics that enhance our goals. So let's just pretend that our ultimate goal is like an outfit, what you're wearing right now. You have a few accessories, like if you look at what I'm wearing right now, I've got a watch, I've got cufflinks, I've got a belt, all of those are accessories. All right, maybe you've got earrings on, you've got makeup on. All of those are accessories that enhance the outfit okay, that makes you look the way you look right now. So your strategy is the overall outfit of who you want to become, of who you want to be known as, what your legacy is going to be. And then the makeup, the cufflinks, all of those are interchangeable accessories, which now becomes tactics in order to just amplify the strategy that you're creating already. So tactics are defined as, the little tools, the channels, the technology, etc. All of those small things that then enhance the overall message you're putting out in the world, the overall, goals and aspirations that you actually have in order for you to have a business that's profitable and enjoyable. Now, I think it was Jim Rohn who mentioned that a lot of people are measuring in minor things. A lot of people are measuring in tactics, small things that don't even, scratch the surface towards you actually achieving your goals. Okay? At the end of the day, all right, if you want to be a world leader, if you want to be, an entrepreneurial consultant or coach that has some sort of remark around them, you need to ditch all the tactics that you might have and actually start working on your strategies. Okay, so like I defined strategy earlier on, it's a plan of action or policy that is designed to achieve a major or an overall aim. What is the major or overall aim that you might have currently with the work that you are doing? What is the major and overall aim with your health? What's the major and overall aim with your finances, with your attitudes, your family, all of those things that I've mentioned, towards your goals? Your business strategy is the overall plan that you need to be, achieving your goals. Now, do you have a strategy? Now, let me give you an example. I've got one of my clients who's a management consultant, right? So basically, Sally is a management consultant who specializes in serving manufacturing companies, in their to solve their problems that they might have. And the overall aim that she has for her pricing is to implement what's called return of investment based fees, which literally help her raise her prices, because if she helps a company make $1 million, she now gets paid a percentage of that, return of investment that she has had. So in consulting, or in coaching, you need a few different strategies for different goals that you might have. How are you actually making your money? Okay, so you want to ask yourself a question. Do you have a strategy for your marketing? Do you have a strategy for building your actual business so that it's profitable and enjoyable? Do you have a strategy for you raising your prices every single time? Or when you come across some people who need a different pricing structure, do you have a strategy around that? Do you have a strategy on finding your ideal client? Are you clear on who you can actually serve? Do you have strategic messaging for different people when they're in different, cycles in your buying journey? All of these strategies cover different areas of your business. Do you have long-term strategies around how to actually create a business that's profitable and enjoyable? And the way that you need to utilize to determine your strategies to ask yourself the right questions, because we just jump into most of these things without actually defining what it is that we want. What is the outcome going to look like? How are you going to know when you have arrived? What do you actually want to go, with your business? Where? What do you actually want to do with your business? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to become? What is your business serving in the grand scheme of things? And once you know that, how are you actually going to differentiate your business? In a sea of Me Too consultants out there, are you going to differentiate yourself on service? Are you going to differentiate yourself, on your business model? Are you going to differentiate yourself with the offers that you're putting out there, or the fees, or the pricing, or how you actually show up in the world? Do you know who your ideal clients are? All of these are strategies, because if you don't know who you're going to be serving, how are you going to, put out a podcast like this? How are you going to know when you have come across somebody who's made an inquiry on your website, how to actually treat them? Because there's different information for different folks, people. What's the best way to actually reach your ideal audience? If you haven't got a strategy around that, you're just going to be spraying and praying with your marketing. And that's where tactics come in, and they make you look like you're doing enough. That's where you start cold calling potential clients and having them maybe hang up in your face, or sending out hundreds of emails without even getting as much as, hey, thank you so much for reaching out, because those are tactics. Or maybe wasting thousands of dollars on ad spend without generating any qualified leads. All of these things, if they're not tied down to a strategy, you're just spraying and praying with your marketing and making, these platforms that you are using richer and richer, and you poor and poor, which makes you become a statistic because you haven't got a strategy past the 3-year mark, past the 6-year mark, past the 10-year mark. And once you've found these clients, what's the message you're going to use to get their attention and actually get their interest for them to start their journey with you, so that you can actually, showcase that you can help them by actually help them? Because, sometimes when you feel like no one wants to buy what you're selling, is because you haven't got a strategy around who you want to sell to. You haven't got a strategy around what your actual message is. You haven't got a strategy around your offers. And once you've got all of that in place, how are you going to package and maybe position your services in such a way that you actually resonate to the people you're going to be demanding money off of? Because if you don't answer these questions, you literally don't have a business. And by answering these questions, you will learn if you have a strategy or not, and how clear and intentional that strategy is. Because when people start showing up, and if you don't have a strategy, you're just going to be whacking them all. And when people see that you're not organized, they are just going to walk away. And also, if you don't answer any of these questions to yourselves, you can't choose the right actions for you to take. And you know what those actions are? You wouldn't know what tactics you would use to then reach out to your ideal client. You wouldn't know what tactics to use to amplify the message that you've clarified. So a lot of people start from the end without having created a platform or a base or an actual strategy. So maybe you might be confused right now. Let me define what a tactic is. A tactic is that action which is maybe carefully planned to achieve a specific end. It's just a means to an end. So tactics are not concrete. They're just detailed steps to take you to reach that end, period. And then pretty much after that, you're going to need the strategy to take over. So I spoke about Sally earlier on, who's a management consultant who serves, in manufacturing companies. Her goal is to double her income without working a lot more hours than she is right now. And her pricing strategy, which I mentioned is based on the return of investment that she's giving to her clients, is to achieve a goal that will employ her full time based on how much results she's giving her clients. Not that she knows what her overall goal is. She does know what her overall goal is, right? She can now start thinking of tactics to implement and achieve those goals. If she knows that she's looking for clients that are willing to profit share with her, that makes it easy for the people that she's going to be reaching out to. She knows what specific questions to ask her clients. And when she reaches out to these manufacturing clients, she can, go in and say which questions are actually going to help her identify, the ROI that she can create for her clients. And how can she structure her proposals? Because she knows what she wants. She knows how she wants to be paid. So the question there becomes, what is the tangible value that her clients actually care about? That's what she amplifies in the proposal to those manufacturing companies. And then she makes that prominent within her proposal to justify her ROI-based fee. And what is she going to put on her website? The question now becomes, what elements position her in an industry and sort of like an authority who is able to command these ROI-based fees? Are you noticing a pattern here? Your strategy serves as a filter for the tactics that you're going to be employing moving forward. So whenever you're intrigued with a new channel or maybe new technology or new whiz bang, something that has just shown up on the marketplace, maybe it's a template, maybe it's a script or whatever, just ask yourself, how does this help me fulfill my strategy? before you get bogged down into, oh man, this is what it has given results for other people. How does it specifically suit your business, your strategy, where you are right now on your way to achieve your goals? And if it does, then makes sense to implement that tactic. But if it doesn't, you can safely ignore it, because you know what? It doesn't help you reach your goals. If something is going to take away from what you're building, why would you support that? You know? It's like drinking poison and expecting it to kill somebody else or to hurt somebody else. So maybe you might not even know this, but do your clients actually need help with strategy? They might not know it because you know what the end should look like. Maybe that's where you need to start off from. Because if you're a strategic consultant or if you're a coach, you know, strategic consulting is when you actually provide strategic advice to your clients on specific topics. You're already advising your clients on what to do and what it should look like, because they have no idea of what they're supposed to be doing, in order to get the results that they want. So it's one of the highest forms of value that you can provide your clients, because it actually helps them to define and reach their goals and then work and reverse engineer to actually work backwards. How come you're not doing that within your business? So we're talking about Sally, who is a strategy consultant there, who works with manufacturing industries. You know, she has successfully positioned her consulting business as an industry authority by using thought leadership marketing strategy, because she knows what she wants, she knows who her ideal client is, and she's got strategies to achieve all of that. And guess what? A lot of clients are now reaching out to her for help with her, with her strategies. Her clients are usually new tech startups that are starting in the manufacturing industry, and they need help either with their HR, with their marketing, and all those things, and maybe talent retention. So they want to hire her for advice and an overall plan on how they can keep their employees happy, not just for tactics. They hire her for strategy because she has already established and positioned herself to be somebody who's strategic. And notice, they're hiring her for advice and a plan on their own strategy. They're not asking her to implement specific tactics, like conducting a series of interviews or maybe social media plans out there. Instead, they're actually re-engaging her on a higher level. Now, Sally can be one of those advising, her clients, teams on what they should be doing and why. That's strategy. And on that, the higher the level you provide, the more value that you can capture, in the marketplace. We get paid in direct proportion to the value that we bring to the marketplace. Anything that we're going to be doing has to be strategic. And all the implementation that we're maybe peddling, yeah, it's okay. It involves a few tactics there, but you want to implement on a strategy, not implement tactics. So it's often that when you've got a strategy that actually it determines what tactics then you can use. And a strategy can actually help you, create your marketing engine. It helps you create your lead generation system. And so you can consistently attract the ideal clients that you want to use. And it actually determines what tactics you can use for that marketing engine, for that lead generation system, and for those ideal clients. As a coach or consultant, you need to position yourself as a trusted advisor by advising on strategy, not by implementing tactics. That is how you literally can stand way above all the other people that are out there in the marketplace that are just, peddling tactics out there. So do you know what your actual strategy is? I mean, after listening to this, it's time for you to think about your strategy, that you're using in your coaching or consulting business, and what tactics have you been using that you need to, implement in order to carry out that strategy. And you need to maybe define your strategy in 3 to 4 sentences. My strategy is basically create businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. So you want to ask yourself, what are you trying to achieve? What is your long-term goal? What does your desired future state look like in your business? How are you going to know when you've arrived? That's your strategy. And when you know that now becomes your lighthouse, that now becomes your anchor, where no matter where you go, no matter what market is looking like, any market downturns, etc., you will be able to deliver on that goal without losing your head. You'll be able to actually create diverse recurring revenue streams that will skyrocket your profitability and ensure your business remains 100% bulletproof, even during market downturns, even during global pandemics and any lockdowns that might be impending. Because you've got a strategy, because you know where you're headed to. If you know where you're going and you know exactly what it would look like, it's super easy for you to stay on course. And it's easy for you to then notice what tactics are worth your time, what tactics are, easy for you to do. Because when you do this exercise, when you literally pinpoint what your strategy is going to be, you would definitely reach your destination. I mean, focusing on tactics is easy. It's fun. It's immediate. Instant gratification. You order a meal on Uber Eats and in 5 minutes it's delivered. That's easy. Instant gratification. We all want that. But if you get clear on your strategy first and then focus on the tactics, you'll make far much more progress in your business, in your life, in your health, in your wealth, everything else that you're looking to do. And if you have a position like you have as a consultant or coach where you're advising your clients, if you start advising them on strategy instead of tactics, you actually create value within their business. Like I keep repeating, we get paid in direct proportion to the value that we bring to the marketplace. So ensure that you're capturing your own fair share of the value that you're creating. Either you can actually, change how you charge your fees based on how you are getting, a return of investment for your clients. Because there's pricing models like value-based pricing that you can actually net you greater fees than you charging hourly because you're just implementing tactics. So right now, maybe you've now gotten to a stage where you're looking, for help to see if your strategy is going to sustain your business and actually grow your coaching or consulting business. All right, I invite you to have a call with me, and I can help you define and develop your actual strategy. And I'll actually walk you through every step by step of your own customized plan, because not every finger on the same hand are of the same height. Okay? At the end of the day, I just want to talk to you about your business and find out what strategies you're going to be using. So basically, if you would like our help taking advantage of the strategies that are out there and see if you're in the right direction, grab a call with me. Okay? www.livelongdigital.com.au. Find a space where you can schedule a call with me. And I'll work hands-on with you and develop a strategic plan, and then deep dive and work through maybe your ideal client clarity, your strategic messaging, your consulting offers or your coaching offers, the fees and the pricing, whatever business model that you are working on. We can actually optimize it so that you can create more and relate to the current audience that you have at the moment. And then pretty much after that, we'll set up your marketing engine and lead generation system so that you can consistently attract your ideal clients strategically. All right? So make sure you schedule a call, and sustainably scale your business, maybe from whatever you're doing right now to like 7 figures and beyond in less time. All right? I want you to establish yourself as a trusted leader within your industry, and trusted leaders are strategic, all right? They're not just going to be jumping onto whatever TikTok phase that's out there, which is boldly going nowhere. Like I said, you're not the only one. A lot of people run their business just on tactics alone, all right? But the last couple of years have shown us that, when there's a market downturn or there's a global pandemic or when there's a sweeping lockdown, if you don't have a strategy, you, my friend, will be taken to the cleaners very fast. A lot of coaches out there are chasing shiny objects, They're chasing the latest marketing tool without, wondering if it actually fits into their grand scheme of things, in the long-term goals, in the actual, longer play. And maybe some people don't even have goals. So if you're going to take anything from this call today, or from this podcast today, your long-term goals and strategy should come first. And your tactics, which include things like your tools, your channels, your technology, whatever media you're using at this moment, should come second. Okay? Because if you're not creating, a strategic business, you'll never be able to deliver outstanding results for your clients. You'll never be able to create loyalty with them. And you know what happens when customers are loyal to you and loyal to your strategy because it's giving them results? They will sing your praises. They'll be singing your praises to their family, to friends, colleagues at a barbecue, and even strangers on the bus, whoever can listen to them. All right? Make sure that your plan of action or policy is designed to achieve a major and overall aim. And mostly, I want your aim to resemble something like a business that's profitable and enjoyable. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au